All of Britain was in an uproar over a number of killings in a poor and destitute part of London, and while they were unusually gruesome, the Queen had originally believed the press had exaggerated the details to whip up public outrage. It wasn't until the 5th, and what she had been assured was the final murder, that she had been briefed on the more exacting details of the case and realized the press, as gruesome as they had described the murders of Jack the Ripper, didn't know half the story. "And to think I allowed that man to place his hand upon my person," she had exclaimed when informed of the Ripper's identity. But now new information had appeared, and as she entered the room the 6 men, who were there, immediately stood up and bowed in a manner befitting the Queen of England, Scotland and Ireland, and Empress of the British Empire. She simply waved her hand and grunted, as she took her place at the head of a long antique wooden table and sat down. The men quickly followed suit. "All right, gentlemen, let's get down to this unfortunate business. We don't want to waste any more of our time on this situation." Caught off guard by her abruptness, the man seated directly to her right immediately stood up, while fumbling through some papers, and began to speak. "Yes, ma'am. I will not delve into the more macabre aspects of the case, but will present a detailed rendition of the manner in which we have reacted to the more public aspects of the case instead." The Queen did not speak again for almost 20 minutes, until they broached the subject of the American lawman, on which the Queen seemed particularly interested. When she asked what sort of a man this sheriff was, the answer came from a young, small, and weak-looking man at the end of the table. "Ma'am," he stuttered in a high squeaking voice, "he is a Texas Ranger, ma'am. Veteran of the American Civil War, fighting for the side of the Union, he is every bit the image of a character in an American dime novel." "And what of his story?" the Queen asked. "Whether or not his story is true is no longer the point. I will simply tell him the reason for his coming to our shores is dead, and he has no reason to stay. I will personally see to it that he leaves as soon as can be arranged," he replied. "Let us not be too hasty. While Lord Stokely is dead, it is not altogether certain that he was in fact the actual, or only perpetrator," she answered back. The men sitting at the table suddenly began squirming as each frantically looked to another to answer this statement. Tired of the theatrics, the Queen turned to the man seated immediately to her right and asked, "Isn't that so?" Discover the amazing tale of how Queen Victoria, herself, was vital to the identification and destruction of Jack the Ripper in the new novel Queen Victoria vs. Jack the Ripper, now on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Buy it today. It will redefine the Jack the Ripper genre.